What a day. So much to discuss, and I might as well just do it all chronologically, starting with the special elections that we had yesterday in Georgia. We got the results late last night, early this morning, and unfortunately, the Democrats took both of the Senate seats. It was pretty clear that it was going to be a winner take all. It was hard to believe that voters would split the ticket when really people were voting for who they wanted to control the United States Senate. Did you want the Democrats to control, or did you want the Republicans? And since that was the rationale behind the vote, it wouldn't really make sense that people would just vote for the candidates. They were really voting for the party. And so that's why it was either going to be the Republicans winning both or the Democrats winning both. And it ended up being the Democrats. And if you're looking for somebody to blame for this loss, I think the one person that is the most to blame is President Donald Trump. And I criticized Trump the day he stabbed any relatively fiscally responsible. And again, I put that in quotes because I don't know that any Republicans really are still fiscally responsible. But clearly, on a relative basis, there are some that are less irresponsible than others. And whoever those Republicans are, Donald Trump stabbed them in the back in a very visible way when he threatened to veto the stimulus bill, which of course he didn't follow through with. But the reason he said he wanted to veto it was because it wasn't generous enough. He didn't think a $600 check was big enough, and he wanted everybody to get a $2,000 check. And of course, he didn't care how much larger the deficits would be to make those checks possible, right? To make sure they didn't bounce. He didn't care how much money the Federal Reserve was going to have to print so the checks wouldn't bounce. He wanted Americans to get $2,000 checks. Now, that put Senate Republicans in an untenable position where they were the only thing standing between voters and a $2,000 check. Because as soon as Donald Trump made the selfish mistake of grandstanding about how he was the one that wanted to give everybody a $2,000 check, as if he was writing the check out of his own bank account. It's easy to be generous with somebody else's money, but Donald Trump said, I want $2,000, and Nancy Pelosi, being the good politician that she is, right, immediately seized on the opportunity that Trump handed her to immediately call for a vote in the House of Representatives, unanimous consent to agree with the president and deliver additional checks, a $2,000 check to every voter. And the only reason that didn't happen was because you had Republicans in the United States Senate that didn't want as big a hole in the deficit, right? Not that there already isn't a gaping hole in there anyway, but I guess they had to draw a line somewhere. And so they said, that's it. We're not going to do these $2,000 checks. It's too much borrowed money. It's too much money printing. It's not necessary. We're not going to give checks to people who don't need it. And so they stopped the checks. And that opened up a great window of opportunity for President-elect Joe Biden, because he basically was able to frame the Georgia election as a referendum on those checks. Biden actually bribed the electorate, the voters, by basically saying, hey, if you want your $2,000 check, you need to vote Democrat. If you vote Republican and the Senate stays in Republican hands, you're not going to get your $2,000 because those greedy Republicans won't sign on to the legislation. But if you send two new Democrats to Washington that will approve of the $2,000 checks, then I'm going to sign them and they're going to be in the mail. So in other words, the voters were bribed. You get $2,000 if you vote Democrat. I mean, that's basically what it came down to. The swing voters came into the booth and they saw Democrat, Republican, And basically the mindset was, I vote Democrat, I collect $2,000. I vote Republican, I don't collect $2,000. That was it. And for a lot of people, it was an easy decision. Collecting $2,000 is a lot better than not collecting $2,000. And so that's what people voted for. Remember, an election is an advanced auction on the sale of stolen goods. And in this case, it was an advanced auction on $2,000. And people voted to collect the $2,000. They didn't have to pass go. All they had to do was vote Democrat, and they got $2,000. And you know what? They voted Democrat, and they're going to get $2,000. The question is, what's that $2,000 going to buy? Probably not very much.